According to Eurostat, Denmark has issued 40 leave orders for British citizens since the end of the Brexit transition period in December 2020 until the end of 2021. That's the third highest number of expulsion orders issued by any EU member state after Sweden and Malta in that time. Afterwards, there were more, of course. The reason for the expulsion orders vary, but they can include criminal convictions, overstaying a visa, or working illegally. In some cases, British citizens have also been expelled for being a threat to national security. It's important to note that the number of expulsion orders issued by Denmark is relatively small compared to the total number of British citizens living in the country. As of 2022, there were an estimated 400,000 British citizens living in Denmark, and this means that the expulsion rate is only about 0.1% until the end of 21. The Danish government has said that it is committed to treating British citizens fairly after Brexit. However, it has also warned that those who break the law will be subject to the same penalties as any other non-EU citizen. And there are a few reasons why Denmark has issued those leave orders for British citizens since Brexit. As I said, Denmark has a zero-tolerance policy for crime, and British citizens who have been convicted of a crime in Denmark can be expelled. This includes both serious crimes such as murder and drug trafficking, as well as less serious crimes such as theft and assault. And British citizens who overstay their visa in Denmark can also be expelled. This is true even if the overstay is unintentional, such as if a British citizen's visa expires while they are waiting for a decision on their application for permanent residency. And British citizens who work illegally in Denmark can also be expelled. And this includes both those who work without a work permit and those who work with a work permit that has expired. And in some cases, British citizens can be expelled from Denmark if they are considered to be a threat to national security. This is indeed a very rare occurrence, but it can happen if a British citizen is suspected of being involved in terrorism or espionage. But residence permits have also been denied by Denmark for British citizens since Brexit. According to the Danish Immigration Service, around 250 applications for residence permits from British citizens have been rejected since the end of the Brexit transition period in December 2020. The reasons for the rejections vary, but they can include a few things. Not meeting the requirements for a residence permit is the first one. This could include not having a job offer, not having enough financial resources, or not being able to speak Danish. Or having a criminal record. British citizens with a criminal record may be denied a residence permit, even if the crime was committed before Brexit. And once again, being a threat to national security. In some cases, British citizens may be denied a residence permit if they are considered to be a threat to national security. This is also here a very rare occurrence, but it can happen if the British citizen is suspected of being involved in terrorism or espionage again. As I said, it's important to note that the number of residence permits denied to British citizens is also relatively small compared to the number of total applications. As of 22, there have been over 18,000 applications for residence permits from British citizens since Brexit, and only around those 250 have been rejected. British citizens who wanted to stay legally in Denmark before Brexit had to meet just a few requirements. Since Brexit. They have to have a valid passport, they have to have a job offer or be self-employed, and they had to have enough financial resources to support themselves and their dependents. And they had to be able to speak Danish at a basic level, which I think is an important rule we should have here too. If British citizens met these requirements, they could apply for a residence permit in Denmark, and the residence permit would allow them to live and work in Denmark indefinitely. Now, after Brexit, British citizens who want to stay legally in Denmark need to apply for a new residence permit under the Danish Immigration Act. The requirements for a residence permit under the Danish Immigration Act are similar to the requirements that applied before Brexit, but there are some changes. For example, British citizens who want to stay in Denmark for more than 90 days now need to have a job offer or be self-employed. British citizens who were legally residing in Denmark before Brexit have until December 31st in 2023 to apply for a new residence permit under the Danish Immigration Act. After that date, they will need to apply for a residence permit under the same rules as any other non-EU citizen. Non-EU citizens who want to reside in Denmark need to apply for a residence permit as well. The requirements for a residence permit vary depending on the purpose of the stay, of course. But there are some, let's say, most common types of residence permits for non-EU citizens in Denmark. One is a work permit. That's a permit for non-EU citizens who want to work in Denmark. And to qualify for a work permit, they must have a job offer from a Danish employer. And the employer must also prove that they cannot find a qualified Danish or EU citizen to fill the position. Or it may be a student visa. That's a permit for non-EU citizens who want to study in Denmark. To qualify for a student visa, they must be accepted to a Danish educational institution. And they must also show that they have enough financial resources to support themselves during their studies. And there's a family reunification permit. This is a permit for non-EU citizens who want to join their family members in Denmark. To qualify for a family reunification permit, they must be married to or in a registered partnership with a Danish citizen or a non-EU citizen who is already residing in Denmark with a residence permit. And there is the so-called golden visa. This is a permit for non-EU citizens who invest a significant amount of money in Denmark. To qualify for a golden visa, you must invest at least $500,000 in Danish real estate or Danish company. And if you are a non-EU citizen who wants to reside in Denmark, you should contact the Danish Immigration Service for more information on the requirements for a residence permit. But there are also some additional things to keep in mind when applying for a residence permit in Denmark. As I said, you must apply for a residence permit before you enter Denmark. And one has to provide all of the required documentation, including a valid passport, a job offer or proof of financial resources, and a criminal record check. And they must pay an application fee. The processing time for a residence permit application can take several months, so people should start early. If their application is successful, they will be granted a residence permit for a specified period of time. They can then apply to extend their residence permit if they wish to remain in Denmark, and then they have to see what happens then. If you want to know more about Brexit or the current UK politics, the next video is here in the end screen. I forgot to mention something in my video this morning. I decided not to do a live stream on Sunday. I will just enjoy my birthday weekend, so please forgive me for not being on Sunday. My birthday is on Saturday, and I want to spend some free time at last after many months of working 7 days a week usually around my birthday, so I hope you will not mind. There will be videos on Sunday, but not a live stream. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.